Good morning, everyone from all around the world. So it could be your evening. Welcome to our fourth and final webinar of this series called Sunrise Esoteric Practices for Preconception, Conception, Pregnancy, and Birth. This webinar is offered by Matra Sophia, a birth sanctuary dedicated to bringing in children with the strongest physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and social forces, and supporting families and humanity from preconception through early childhood through the four pillars of Ayurveda and yoga, holistic birth, indigenous wisdom, and Waldorf or anthroposophical education. We are so thrilled that you have joined us for this past month to be here in the teachings of Surya Yoga as transmitted through our Wisdom Circle member, Richard Kraft. What is unique about today is that within the Hindu Vedic calendar, the time period that we're in right now is called Chhat Puja, and it is dedicated to the solar deity Surya to express gratitude for the blessings of all of life on earth and to seek the fulfillment of personal wishes. This is also dedicated to his sister, the sixth form of Prakriti, who is also worshipped during this festival. And Chatti Mahi, or Chatti Mata, grants children long life and good health by shielding them from illnesses and diseases. So we did not plan that this webinar would be ending this cycle during this time, but as things that are guided by spirit, which guides our heartbeat and vision, this is what has happened. So we are in this really auspicious time in the Vedic calendar that is aligned with Richard's teachings. And before we start, I wanted to share something that happened at sunrise yesterday as Richard and I um, were sitting. I had this awareness that the teachings of Surya Yoga are not just from yogic traditions or Om or Hinduism, but they are really in all cultures. And I personally had memories related to the Egyptian culture come through. And so I invite everyone, as you're in these teachings, to open up your remembrance of what these teachings might hold for you, not just in this life, but also through past incarnations. Maya, is there anything you would like to share before we move to Richard?
Just that again, we'll go to the end of the hour, and then the last 15 minutes is reserved for some introductions and also reflections. I know that when we are together for an hour in a webinar format, it's very um, hmm, we could use a little more. I would like to know more about you and learn a little bit more about you. So use the chat, and if you, I invite you to just write your name, where you are, and your intention for this hour together. That way we can all kind of participate that way, getting a sense of whose hearts are here pulsating with each other. So until soon, go ahead, Richard.
Aloha. Welcome to class 4 of Sunrise Esoteric Practices for Preconception, Conception, Pregnancy, and Birth. I would like to invite each one to once again allow our breath to take on its natural rhythm in in-breath and in out-breath. In in-breath and in out-breath, it's just so extraordinary to feel at times how this movement has a resonance with not only in our personal lives, but in the life all around us. Everything in creation breathes in and breathes out, breathes in and breathes out. And within this breath, within this fundamental movement that sustains all life, there is a space, a sanctuary, a, a place in which we participate fully in the tiniest, minute movement of this in-breath and out-breath, and this immense movement that sustains the entire universe. And I invite us, each one, to find that space. And let us call that space for the time being our heart. Yet, if that space is something different for each one, that doesn't matter. For that space participates in everything. And so, as we enter into this space within ourselves, we have an awareness that everything that we've lived in this present incarnation is present in that space. Everything. And everything that is present in that space is singing its song. It has a resonance. It has a note. It is music. And as we allow ourselves to listen to this music, we feel that emerges within this space a melody, a song, our soul's song. And this song isn't limited to notes, like physical notes that are grouped together. This song has a freedom of expression. It receives and it gives, like this breath that continually brings life force, the essence of creation, into the deepest part of our being. And from that depth, we give back into creation. So as we listen, listen, and listen, we gain an awareness that those that are present in this circle right now also have a music, also have a song of their soul. And we can hear this song as we listen, and we feel this music. We can see this music. We can be immersed in this bath of vibrational resonance that's coming from this sacred space of our hearts. And as we allow our awareness to expand, we can start feeling every single human being on earth also has a song of their soul, also has a music that's composed of every single experience that they've lived in this incarnation. And those experiences are able to bring forth something that is so beautiful, that's so extraordinary, and in itself, it harmonizes with life. And as we greet and welcome the soul song of all humanity, we recognize that everything on earth, every stone, every plant, every insect, every animal, every bird, everything has a song. And as we open to this music, we recognize there's a freedom of expression that goes beyond anything we could possibly imagine. And we allow ourselves this gratitude, this appreciation of Mother Gaia's song, composed of millions and millions and trillions of soul songs from all different expressions of life. And within this space, within this sound, within this sacred expression of vibrational awareness, we recognize this continuity of the past, the present, and the future as expressions of musical creativity, inspiration, and revelation. And we welcome into this space the music, the soul expression of the Deva, of Matra Sophia. And we listen to her song. We receive her song. And we welcome and invite into this space the Devas of all these extraordinary communities, collectivities, organizations, composed of so many soul songs, and that the Deva receives. And with that, offers an expression of their sacred alliance. So we welcome in these Devas. And as we feel all this music, all this symphony of beauty and harmony, we realize that there's music pouring forth from the sun at every moment that changes, that modifies like a kaleidoscope in patterns and colors and relationships. And that all over earth, this music is there to nourish, to support, to bring this life expression to its highest possible potential. And we invite in the beings that are there in Surya, in this special day of his and her celebration, of honoring and recognizing this song, these melodies. And we see and we feel that the resonance of our higher self is immersed, is bathed, is within the ocean of this sound. And we welcome and invite our higher selves to bring forth this extraordinary resonance and music and bring it into this present moment. That our cells, every single one of our cells, can receive that. And we connect and invite in, oh, Pan and all these nature spirits and the song of nature, this extraordinary melody that interweaves these threads that are so beautiful, the colors that we can not possibly imagine, that have inspired and brought forth the highest possible creativity all through time. And that these beings are constantly with us, singing and bringing forth mysteries and saying, my dear children, do you realize one day you, as human beings, will create with a sound? You have before, and you have forgotten. Yet we're assisting you as you enter in and allow your soul song to come forth, as you listen to the soul song of all of creation. You will once again become creators of heaven and earth. Aloha. Thank you so much for joining and for the cooperation, the co-creation, the participation that you offer 100%. It's absolutely extraordinary. And I'm just extraordinarily grateful to have this space and invite these beings to participate in the ways that they feel would be in the highest possible form of expression. So, just a small review of how we've progressed into this last class, and which we explored a little bit in the first class, me as a person, what brought me here into this space, and then from that, understand that the devas of Matra Sophia, they invited me to bring forth the pathways of incarnation. And not only bring forth these pathways of incarnation, but to illustrate how these pathways interweave into the basic function of humanity through birth and rebirth. In other words, birth and death, as we call that. That this corresponds exactly to the rotation of the earth on its axis, this fundamental movement of the earth as a collective being. So we explored that a bit. And then we were invited into that truly one of the goals of this, and one of the goals of the mission of Matra Sophia, is the activation of the community, of the collectivity, to support these pathways, to enable this circulation to take place in the highest possible way. And they've brought forth 4 pillars that enable their participation. I'm talking about the devas when I say their participation, that it can come through all human beings that through their free will choose to participate within their life experiences. And as a community, as a collectivity, we make a difference. This is a very powerful message that she brought forth. And so this thread has been interwoven to the best of my ability through these 3 classes. So we explored that in the first class. And in the second class, we introduced that, in fact, through this movement, we encounter 3 parents that represent these 2 principles that sustain, maintain, and bring forth creation from the mystery of mystery, or how it's expressed through the Kabbalah, ancients of ancients, mystery of mysteries, hidden of the hiddenmost, Ein Sof Or, limitless light. That this is coming forth. And these 2 principles we meet, and this is the fundamental teaching that the rishis, and as Vinita well expressed, not just the rishis, but we'll see perhaps their role today more precisely in this evolution of humanity, of us, our story, our myth, our story of our soul, that interweaves like this music, like this song of everyone. So we explored that this fundamental teaching for preconception is to meet once again consciously with our divine parents. And this is the fundamental role of sunrise. We utilize 2 principles for that. Our masculine principle to get up, we utilize our will, and our feminine principle, we surrender, we open, we let go. So these 2 principles correspond. They're not just that. We're whole beings of this rotation of sunrise and sunset, of birth and rebirth. We've seen these correspondences, and we read a bit. We entered into this state of residence of as above, so below. As below, so above. We recognize that the human being is a connection in these 2 worlds. And as we step in consciously to become a conductor, a connection, we realize that all of humanity now is being introduced, this wave of the dawn of the age of Aquarius, to participate in the emergence of the ascension of Mother Gaia. And each one of us is a conscious cell in that. So we encountered our divine parents, we encountered our spiritual parents, and then the souls of our actual parents. And we discovered a little bit the roles, the state of residence, and we understood in this second class how important it is every day to enter into this state of resonance once again, to receive and be received by our divine parents, that through the portal of the sun, we can encounter our spiritual parents. And through the specific aspect of the moon, we can greet the resonance of the souls of our parents, so that our expression, our activities during the day is full with these three aspects of creation. And then we introduced a bit through the question or the invitation of Maya, representing one of the co-stewards for Matra Sophia, that it would be lovely to look upon what is the action of these seven rays. How does that interact in our life? And then, so in the third class, we looked upon that. How do we form a living prism? And these two triangles that we have, we saw that everything is prepared for us. Everything. There's nothing that hasn't been prepared that we can step fully into this role of connecting heaven and earth. Everything. And science calls these systems, these preparations, involuntary systems, which compose, I don't know the percentage, let's just say 90%. I love saying 90%. I don't know why, but I love doing that. So let's just say 90% of our being, of our life force, goes on all the time. It's happening all the time. Well, let's just say 90% of creation is doing the same thing. So all these extraordinary beings that we talk about in different cultures of angels, archangels, devas, divinities, expressions, the highest possible expressions, they receive everything. They're the same as us. There's no difference. So we're asked to recognize that. And we were invited in to recognize that we have two triangles that are in us that can reflect this flow of energy coming from creation through the sun in the form of light that we can't touch, that we can't hold, that we can't define either. It goes beyond human definition. We can describe it a bit. So its essence is beyond human life, light. And so within that, we can receive that. And our 10% is showing up and holding a space and receiving, opening and receiving. And through that receptivity, many things go on. And we can become active. We can co-create with this expression of the seven rays. Or we can allow these seven rays to do something in the mystery, in the involuntary actions of our being. It happens. So we explored that. And we understood that in that there's this descent coming from these divine parents, from our spiritual parents, from this soul of our parents that are represented by, in the Judeo-Christian, our guardian angels, these beings that are there, that guide us, that are responsible for our evolution, in the sense that they're allowing us experience. We have this extraordinary opportunity to experience. And so we recognize that, yes, this lifetime is composed of thousands and thousands and millions of experiences. And those experiences are received by trillions and trillions and trillions of cells. And somehow we process that somehow. And yet there's thousands and thousands and thousands of lifetimes that are there. And as this energy comes in and enters in to our pineal gland and overflows, as we maintain this connection, it descends into our heart space and activates this other triangle. And that other triangle does exactly like our pineal gland. It brings forth the flow of all our other incarnations. A lot of times this happens involuntarily. We receive that. Yet, through our experience, we recognize that we're composed of patterns. We recognize, the greatest musical expressions in classical music are composed of little tiny motives, themes, that then can be represented in infinite ways. So it's the same thing for us. We have patterns. All of astrology is based upon that. Pattern recognition. And not just astrology, many, many different things. So we saw that the role during pregnancy is to become conscious of these two worlds and give as maximum space for these higher energies, just these higher vibrational resonances, to come in and receive these other forces that are coming from other lifetimes, recognize them as patterns, and allow the healing to take place. And so we saw, just a tiny bit, that there's an extraordinary methodology in order to do that, called spiritual electroplating, that was given through the teacher Omram Michael Leivenhoff many years ago, that had as a goal to offer all humanity the possibility to welcome in souls in the best possible condition. Well, this spiritual electroplating is not just there for birth, it's also there for rebirth, it's also there for death. And he talked about the signification of our last breath, of the ability to recognize this extraordinary gift of being alive and to leave one's physical body in gratitude, because that is preparing the best conditions for the next incarnation. So he touched upon how this cycle is connected and put a lot of attention upon how can we as individuals, how can we as a community, and how can we on the planet face the consequences of our decisions, and how these decisions, these consequences, can be transformed in an extremely rapid way through a conscious participation in what he gave as spiritual electroplating. So we gave that this relationship with these seven rays can actually heal, can actually transform, can actually touch these lives, which we call unconscious and subconscious, once we enter into our incarnation before birth. And so he wrote, two books were given through his lectures. He didn't write, he just spoke, and they were then compiled. So these two books were given called Spiritual Electroplating or Spiritual Galvanoplasty and Education Begins Before Birth. So we saw that briefly last week. And so for the class outline for this class, thank you very much for allowing this review. It's important to bring these elements into a coherent pattern form in which now let's take a little next step. So in our conscious interaction with these qualities, into this process in the invisible world. So all this is taking place in the invisible world. So what is the title of the course? Sunrise, Esoteric Principles, Methods. You see? So we're talking about the invisible world. We're talking about the unseen world. We're talking about this spiritual existence in which all of us are awakening into. We're seeing that our physicality is a consequence of that, and that through a conscious participation in our experiences, not only we're creating the best environment for these higher forces and universal love, light that we talked about our divine parents represent, eternity, infinity, and immortality, to come into our lives. And at the same time, we're lifting ourselves out of this identification of separation. That separation is a reality. That this human body represents I. So these are the basis of these teachings that have come through the solar rishis, but as Vinita also said, they're represented in many, many, many different cultures, especially through their creation stories, what we call myths. The fibers of creation are there. And that as we link our story, our note, our song to this great song, we understand that little by little we can harmonize, align ourselves with the forces of creation, and we can enter in and transform, allow these consequences to regain once again what the Hawaiians call pono pono, a harmony, an alignment, a natural expression of life. So I would like to invite each one of us to look upon this, that it really doesn't have to be complicated. It can be very, very simple. Our consequences, the layers and layers and layers, they are complex. They are complicated. Outside of ourselves and inside of ourselves. Yet the processes, the methodologies, and the principles that govern these methodologies in all cultures, in all expressions, are absolutely simple. And as we adopt that, not only our lives become less complicated, we look upon others less complicated. We purify our relations. So I'd like to share with you an experience that I had during this week, which has a direct relationship to this. And now everything I'm saying, I'm not saying this is true. Remember, I'm not ever saying that this is the truth. I'm saying there are certain things that I have understood that come from me, and I bring them forth as my expressions of understanding, of experience. And there are other things in which I've learned. And in this learning, obviously, I'm not learning the whole thing. I'm learning a part. And I'm sharing with each one of you to the best of my ability what I've gained from that. So this experience this week was to experience, well, in these teachings of Sura Yoga, in these teachings that the Solar Rishis gave, they gave that it is the soul of the child through many different means and ways that choose the conditions of their next incarnation. Some of these choices, you could say, are absolutely defined, yet they give their agreement, and others they propose. Let's just say that. So, in this experience, I went, how does this take place? Give me a little bit of clarity so for the fourth class, I can bring this forth. And I saw absolutely, without any doubt, in my realm of perception, that through the song of the soul of this future child, it put that forth in the field of resonance, and it attracted the soul song of the parents, and they rejoined. And of course, this is in an immense collectivity. These resonances bring forth others, but in that there's a trio that's formed. And I don't know about each one of you, but I've always been very, very, very attracted. There's a tractor going on, so you're hearing the experience and the music of a tractor. There's something fascinating for me of 3, 4 voices interweaving 5 voices. You see, these expressions of how melodies and harmonies can interact. And so when I lived that, I just went, that is absolutely amazing. That there's an upliftment there. And so through the music of our soul song, we have the possibility to touch our entire lineage just through that resonance. And as we're able to enter freely into what I call the heart space, but each one of you is free to call it what you feel best defines it, describes it, then we're able, as we enter in, to listen and hear that song and meet this pain and suffering that exists, whether it's a personal one from other lifetimes or it's collective. We cannot say that humanity is just living in the bliss. No, there's suffering on earth. Is it a permanent state? I don't believe so. I believe it's part of our experience right now. And through this welcoming in, our heart is prepared to receive pain and suffering. It's been well prepared for that. Nothing needs to change. To enter into our heart space, the pain and suffering can remain exactly how it is. We can receive it, and it can be purified, it can be transformed on its own through this involuntary system, through this state of our soul's melody and the melodies that it's connected to, amplified from these higher forces. So, this is the goal of spiritual electroplating, to do this work before birth. Well, it can still go on after birth. It's not finished. We can hold that. We're all children, and we're all being born in to something new. So we can hold these frequencies. We can be a receptor of the pain and suffering of ourselves and all of humanity. So I would like to share with you a musical piece that was written by this being who was called the Master Pitidinov, the originator of the spiritual movement that is continued by Omar Mikhail Ivanov. And in this, he was an extraordinary musician. He composed many, 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 many pieces, many melodies, and also many songs with lyrics that brought forth this expression of this soul melody and the evolution of humanity. And what is this evolution? To become a son. We know that. And so he's not the only one. There's many, 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 many. And they knew, they absolutely knew, in order for this work, this evolution, this thrust of ascension to take place, we needed to welcome these two forces of pain and suffering, of joy, harmony, beauty. So it's called the hour of dawn. The hour of dawn, the time of dawn. So it's talking specifically about sunrise, but not just this moment of the day that we're living, this moment of the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Dawn breaks and the world sings. You see? The sun shines and vibrates. The world's soul rejoices with love. So we're with our divine parents. We're coming through the sun with this. These teachings are eternal. They were given so that we can remember. Sing, my heart. Sing. Open and sing. You see? We can give our heart permission to sing its soul song. Sing, my heart. We don't need to ask anyone if we have the right to sing. We don't have to have a great voice. We can allow our heart its expression. Forget all human storms, tempests in this sublime moment. So put them aside a bit. Enjoy this moment. There'll be times to occupy with the other, believe me. They don't just go, okay, bye-bye. No, they're there. And if they're not there on the personal level, they're there on a collective one. Listen to my voice. Oh, in the music, when when the musical expression says, listen to my voice, at least for me, I have an absolute memory of that. Absolutely. Over and over and over again, of listening to that voice, of it echoing within me, of its overwhelming compassion and acceptance for exactly who I am. I don't have to hide myself. I don't have to be anything. All I need to do is listen to my voice. I find that extraordinary because in this my voice, he's talking about the voice of creation, of our divine parents. Mine is a part of it. Mine. And everyone else's. Divine life is born in sorrow. The what is? Pain and suffering. Not only in um, birth, but also in rebirth, in death. People are born in suffering and people die in suffering. This is a reality. Human suffering can bring new life and a serene joy. Isn't that extraordinary? It's true. Imagine through this pain and suffering, a baby is born. It's like incredible. Incredible. Well, through death also, through this suffering, there's a pathway that's born. There's also a serene joy of those that experienced it. They're saying it's unbelievable. Let the new life of love warm my soul. Freedom is yours. And spiritual power and peace. If you can just listen to my voice. So can you imagine? Everything's there. If we can just stop and listen. And that's what happened during COVID. Everything stopped. And what happened? Oh, nature healed itself in so many different ways. Nature has involuntary systems. And if we would just let the space for that, the same as us, can we listen? Can we stop and listen? The sweet sounds are calling you. Isn't that amazing? Every dawn, we're being called. We're being woken into this extraordinary experience that we call a new day. The sweet sounds are calling you, and the song finishes with, to come where eternal love reigns. That is our reality, I feel. I believe that 100%. Can my pain and suffering live within the reality of eternal love? Yes, it can. Can the community, the collectivity's pain and suffering live in the reality of eternal love? It can. And as we as a community bring forth this consciousness of the reality of the infinite light, the eternal love, and the immortality of life force, we allow the experiences to heal, to bring forth gifts, to bring forth abilities that are absolutely extraordinary. So that's what we can offer each one of us. So this is what I feel sunrise and the esoteric practices bring for preconception, conception, pregnancy, and birth. The ability to receive from up above and allow from below to be drawn in to this space that's been prepared so that the dawn of the age of Aquarius, the dawn in which all humanity will live in peace, will live in joy, will live in abundance, will be healthy, will live in cooperation, and etc., etc. Kindness, goodness, everything. The seven rays. We will all be rainbows. And so we need the rainbow children to assist us. We need to support their coming. And this is the call I'm offering you. So, Vinita, can you prepare the music? So, about 9 months ago, let's say 9 months because that corresponds to human pregnancy. Huh? Might as well be poetic. Uh, I was given a piece of music. It's called The Song of Aquarius. And since at that time I was giving a webinar on astrology for the age of Aquarius, I thought, oh, I was guided. Okay, I can give this song, and this will be the last class. There were 8 classes, and for one reason or another, it didn't come into completion. And magically, this week, it was effortless. So I have the joy to receive absolutely 2 beings that are singing on this music. And it's once again Jonathan Lee that's singing. He's a tenor, but he's singing the bass part and doing an admirable job. It's not in his so-called voice, but he's just extraordinary. He has such a range. And then another woman who's on this webinar right now, Sarah Sherling, I hope I'm pronouncing your last name correctly, that is absolutely extraordinary musician. And her also, she's a mezzo soprano, more towards the alto-ish in her expression, yet a musicality. Uh, she has a freshness to her voice, a purity, a spontaneity, and many other qualities that I'm just astonished. And I've had the pleasure for working with her for a number of years. And they, in not even 1 week, in 2 tiny sessions, brought forth this music. Vinita, are you ready? You'll have to say yes or no. I don't have your image.
Yes, I will play it now, Richard.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to invite each one of us to enter into the dawn of the age of Aquarius. What is this dawning? What is it for you? And I guess I should read the words. So, may our love and our wisdom unite and bring forth the truth to celebrate the coming of peace and goodwill. The golden age uniting heaven and earth. It is the new dawn, the song of Aquarius, the circle of universality, a time of sisterhood, of brotherhood throughout the lands, a life filled with harmony, radiating pure beauty. The bells of freedom are ringing within the hearts of everyone, letting go the darkness of lifetimes gone by to be born within the rising sun. Once again, the chorus, it is the dawn. The children are coming to enliven the garden with each one's soul. So the fruits will ripen abundantly, nourishing young and old. Once again, it's a new dawn. Hear the melody of the angels, filling all life with the music of the spheres. The boundaries erasing, a flame arising, hope and joy resounding everywhere. It is the new dawn, the song of Aquarius, the circle of universality, a time of sisterhood, of brotherhood throughout the lands, a life filled with harmony, radiating pure beauty. We are one family. So as you listen to this, you know it's a home recording. Don't worry about the quality. We did the best we could. I'm playing the piano, and I invite each one to bring forth in the way that you feel this wave of the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Mahalo.
May our love and our wisdom unite and bring forth the truth to celebrate the coming of peace and goodwill, the golden age uniting heaven and earth. It is a new dawn, the song of Aquarius, the circle of universality, the time of sisterhood, of brotherhood throughout the land, a life filled with harmony, radiating pure beauty. The bells of freedom are ringing within the hearts of everyone, letting go the darkness of lifetimes gone by, to be born within the rising sun. It is a new dawn, the song of Aquarius, the circle of universality, the time of sisterhood, of brotherhood throughout the land, a life filled with harmony, radiating pure beauty. The children are coming to enliven the garden within each one's soul, so the fruits will ripen abundantly, nourishing young and old. It is a new dawn, the song of Aquarius, the circle of universality, the time of sisterhood, of brotherhood throughout the land, a life filled with harmony, radiating pure beauty. Hear the melody of the angels, filling all life with the music of the spheres, the boundaries erasing, a flame arising, hope and joy resounding everywhere. It is a new dawn, the song of Aquarius, the circle of universality, the time of sisterhood, of brotherhood throughout the land, a life filled with harmony, radiating pure beauty. the circle of universality, the time of sisterhood, of brotherhood throughout the land, a life filled with harmony, radiating pure beauty. We are one family.
Mahalo. And I love you all. I love you all. I love you so much that you have consecrated and given your time to assist this extraordinary dawn of the age of Aquarius in the ways that you feel you're being guided. And I just want to thank you so much for coming, assisting, connecting. And I really want to invite you all to share afterwards your life energy the way that Maya has invited each one, Benita has invited, and that you take the time also to include this emergence of Matra Sophia into your practice, that you sustain, support in your way her arising into contributing in to the dawning of the age of Aquarius. And I would like to thank once again and honor my dear Venita for choosing to be born at this time so I can look at you physically. My dear Maya, that out of the 8 billion people on earth, that I've been graced with your presence. So, mahalo. And we have, I know at least one that I've invited to share a few words of his work in this. And I hope others will also share. Thank you so much, Benita.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you so much for your sharing. And in respect of everybody's time, we did say that we could do a 90-minute today, but anybody wants to leave before that, of course, you're welcome to. And we would like to open the floor now for anybody who has any reflections or would like to share anything, anyone that Richard has invited. Now is a good time. And I'm just reflecting on this beautiful gift that you gave us of acknowledging everybody's soul songs. It is such a beautiful way to engage with each other, that we all have our own songs, our gifts, and that we're growing each other as we walk together on this path, as we walk ourselves back home, as Ramdas says. I just want to share the way that I take notes. I don't know if you can see.
No, you have to bring it forward. There you go.
There you go. So that's one of the ways in which I take notes, and that's one of my ways of sharing my soul song is through art, through touch, through healing, through dancing. And I feel very inspired by your sharing today and by this time we had together. So thank you so much, Richard. And I welcome everyone to speak from your heart, share a little bit about you and what's alive for you in this moment if you are welcome, if you are feeling it in your heart. So, and then anyone else, Richard, that you specifically asked to speak?
Yeah, Francois, Amig, if you're on, could you please come forward? I don't want to force you, but if you choose to.
Hello, all of you.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm with William, another Hawaiian. Well, thank you so much, Richard, and Matre Sophia, Vanita, Maran. Well, everybody. It's wonderful to be part of this community that I didn't know before. I spend since my 17 to dedicate my life to the prenatal education, and so I do different try like a symposium and connection, but with time what has been the most touching me and useful according to me is to weave community like what you are doing, and because it's about consciousness, it's about creating peaceful moment where we could reconnect to our essence, and from there we can just observe that it's a trigger creative process. So doing prenatal education is all about what Richard taught us about reconnected to something which is the I like what you said about this involuntary process like very dare to quantum physics, that's in fact the light, the how could we say that, the sense of life is flowing naturally if we take time just to witness it. And when we witness it, it's from this passive state that everything is so full of intensity, it could start to become a dynamic in our daily life. Can this dynamic can go through singing, through dancing, through talking, but just yes, the being can become an expression. But to come back to this essential being is, I believe, the first step of prenatal education, and to help parents to recognize this process where we come from, and to use this process to prepare themselves to attract souls is a very fundamental things. And I like that Richard has not drift on the technicity, but has concentrate his work on the essential, the principle, the laws of creation. And well, so in my past, what I like the most is to weave with groups. So we have developed a prenatal alliance, which is an international groups. I'm part of uh, OMAEP, which is the education prenatal in the world. So there is many now. There is more and more international association of people who want to share um, that to prepare to bring new soul in, to prepare souls, because souls are perfect and pure, but to be aware of what we are bringing in the world become very important, because if we witness this importance, we allow this soul to express a highest frequency than when we limited them with our low frequency, let's say like that, to be more simple. and and so to understand that what we are going to witness, what we are going to welcome is so essential and can change the world in few generations. That is something so precious. And myself, I feel involved in the weaving of anybody in the world that recognize this principle. That way, I feel my part. And so I send you my love because it's so touching to see that a group like you exists. And in a certain moment, I'm sure we are going to connect all groups all around the planet, whatever their name is, so not important. We can live as our just souls.
So, Francois, know that you'll be invited, and William, and your family to next August, hopefully, if God and Goddess will allow, to a birthing on Kauai, and we would just be honored that you can already be on Kauai with your children and with Luca, and that you can grace that presence. It would just be extraordinary, and that there can be an actual co-creation with Vinita and Maya to allow this to come forth in the best possible and highest potential. So
it's funny because it's in our plan to come in Hawaii. We don't know yet when. It's really, we have the call since because of William. He gave us the taste.
just be extraordinary.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being present, because I've known Francois since he's been 17 years old. And so it's, when I first saw him, it was just like, I was, as I said before in the last class, I was passionate for King Arthur, and I felt that I was coming face to face with Perceval. Absolutely, this purity, this being that is bringing forth this light, and you truly are, you really are, and you've maintained that through all your implications. You've absolutely, and Luca's the same thing. She's maintained her integrity, her essence all the time. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Francois, for sharing. Is there anyone else who would like to share? Okay, Stream, I see you.
So I'm invited to a baby shower late this afternoon or early evening of my dear friend Mele, I've known for a long time. Her name means song in Hawaiian, and her second of her four children is Kiran, also known as Kiki, and he married a woman named Sophie. They live in Duluth, Minnesota, but they're here with their first, pregnant with their first baby. And Melly asked us to bring advice for new parents to the celebration today. So I'm inviting the community to anybody that would like to come to the gathering. I'm here in Princeville. I think it's at 6 today, but also to text me anything to add into what I want to share with this, from this community, with Sophie, who's not, who's just coming for a very brief visit to bathe in our Kauai community. Yeah.
Thank you.
So Greta and I are invited in, so we'll be seeing you there at 5. Greta, do you want to speak?
Well, I am thrilled that this project is birthed, and with Richard and I, it's a dear project that we always held within our bigger vision, you could say, where it's the birthing, the whole lifespan, the transitioning, the whole life within the soul world, and then coming back, born again. So my focus is much more directed to, once this tiny, tender baby is born and welcomed within a beautiful, the best possible way possible here on earth, then what? So that's what my offering is, that how can we now, this tender little sapling, offer an environment that it can grow in this beautiful, strong, splendid tree of blossoms, fruits, and many seeds to share abundantly everywhere, to co-create heaven on earth.
What do you call that?
An education of love.
And what is
living, loving, and learning together.
And what is
as one family.
what is the methodology called?
Soul Essence Education.
And has there been something birthed recently?
Well, yeah, well, there was already a pre-birth. The first book and the second book is published, and I'm working on the next books. So,
What's that second book called?
An Education of Love, A New Paradigm.
So Greta also has many, many gifts and talents, and she is the one that has put together the class recordings. And it looks like nothing, or it looks like something beautiful. I mean, and it does take time, energy, and love. And I can honestly say that Greta puts love into everything she does to the best of her ability. Thank you, Greta.
You're so welcome.
Thank you, Greta. And we'll send out a link to those books in our final email. I also would love to introduce our newest Wisdom Council member, who is a dear friend, a mother, a tech maven, and founder of Boundless, an organization dedicated to helping people remember their connection to Source. So, Angelica, Linda Rose, I would love to introduce you and hear your thoughts of what you've received from the webinar. Angelica was also one of the voices that contributed to the opening song, Remember, that you can hear on YouTube and our Give Better.
Thank you, Benita. I am so grateful and honored to support this portal for new ways that are actually resurrecting very, 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 very ancient ways of being in relationship with each other and the planet and the divine. And I remember when Benita told me about her vision, and we were sitting having lunch. Gosh, it was like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And I could see all the souls, the golden children who were like waiting, like, we're waiting for this. We're waiting for this to be created. And it was so exciting. And on my own journey, I've realized this is kind of a cornerstone for the next epoch of divinity expressing its humanity here. Um, and stewarding these souls so that they retain their remembrance and don't get lost in a lot of the programming of the world that's kind of dissolving right now. And that we create coherent conscious communities, such as this, that create that space within the parents' own hearts. So we live from this deep devotional space, sense a space of reverence that's a deeply felt sense of reverence where we feel that connection with each other, with the planet, with this child that we're stewarding into the world. And I've had the great fortune of bringing in children that are older souls than me and have taught me while they were younger, and then now the roles have kind of flipped. But yeah, so I'm just grateful to be here to witness and to immerse in all of the wisdom and light that Richard is bringing in. I had the great fortune to do a sunrise practice with Richard and Benita and received a lot of information during that. So thank you for this beautiful mission and vision that you are establishing here.
So Angelica has an extraordinary ability to shapeshift and become what's inside becomes outside. It's an extraordinary ability to do that. And in the singing of the song Remember, I didn't even know her. It was like right after sunrise. I said, we're going to record this song. Would you like to put your voice on it? And she went, oh, blah, blah, blah. But she plunged in it and she became the voice. She became the voice. And I recognized this ability that you brought forth from many incarnations. So thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Angelica. We're really happy to have you be a part of our family and the Wisdom Circle. So this has been an amazing journey of 1 month. I hope everyone can feel the deepening and the resonance and the collectivity that has been generated by all of us gathering together, especially those who have chosen to come live so that we're in direct feedback and in coherence with one another. And we hope that those who are watching the recording are feeling that field of love and resonance and sacrifice that's being generated from which you can receive. Much, much gratitude to Richard and to Greta for dedicating your life and your mana to this work and for taking your precious life force to be here with us and contribute to the inaugural webinar for Matra Sophia. Thank you, Maya, for being the co-steward and really being the foundation and organizational principle for Matra Sophia. For the entire community, if you are attending and haven't registered, please do register so that you can be part of our mailing list and our HUI. We would love to hear your feedback. We've received several emails. Richard has shared some things, and it really warms our heart and gives us inspiration to keep moving forward. So feedback can be sent to matrasophiaglobal@gmail.com. We would love to hear you share your testimonials and how this webinar has touched you. In our email, we will send information how you can continue to deepen with our offerings through individual consultations with Richard, Maya, or me. Maya is an Ayurvedic practitioner, and I'm an Ayurvedic doctor, and Richard is a mystic extraordinaire and an astrologer. So we'll be sending information about that. And then we'll be having future webinars next year on topics related to our mission and movie nights with movies such as Birth as We Know It from our Wisdom Circle member, Elena Tinetti, as well as others who are part of our extended community. As Richard hinted at, if there is enough interest, we are planning on having an as above, so below conception retreat in Hawaii next summer, depending on how many people are interested and commit, as well as a pilgrimage to India in the winter of 2026, 2027, where we'll dive deeper into inner child work and panchakarma for detoxing and rejuvenating the body. You will be receiving a link with a Google Drive link, and all those recordings are going to be available until November 7th. Donations to support our ministry are especially welcome because they will support us in staying sustainable and moving from just a volunteer organization to something that we can really dedicate our lives to. And if this webinar has touched you, please share with your friends and family. They can still sign up to get the recordings, and eventually this will be an online course that will be evergreen. So, Fanny, I got your message. We will add you to the list. And is there anything else that Maya or Richard would like to share before we say goodbye? Okay. Thank you to our dear family, our dear global community. As a burgeoning ministry, we are so thankful for all of you attending, especially our Wisdom Circle members who are dedicating their time, energy, action, presence, mana. And we look forward to staying in touch and seeing you for our future events. Mahalo.
A miracle has blessed our lives in creation. From the farthest reaching star, I can see you. You nourish me as I give my life to nourish you. For in each other we are never alone. My breath is your life, life inspiration. My blood, your pure stream that ever flows. My movement carries your soul destination. The mystery that will You are happiness, you are togetherness. We are welcoming you into your new home. You are peacefulness, you are pure consciousness. We are welcoming you into your new home.